Thank you for having me.
This week has been quite a shock, and I'm sure you and the students in your school are on a bit of a roller coaster. Can you tell us what impact it had on you when you heard of the news about the shootings in Tumbler Ridge?
Yes, absolutely a roller coaster, a reminder of the fragility of life, but more specifically, a lot of fear from students, even from staff, when it came to security measures, right, or protocols for when we have lockdowns and horrific incidents such as these, which we are very thankfully that they are rare. And yet there was a real front of mind, thought process as to, from students as well, as to like, are we safe, right? What happens if this happens here? Those kinds of things. But perhaps more is the trauma and is the emotional pain. Knowing that, I teach students that are 12, 13 years old, right, up until 18, that we are in a high school, just like Tumbler Ridge Secondary is. And that students are trying to navigate that pain, that trauma, very complex situations. And so, school always, teachers, students as well, our entire staff, we always want to make school the safest place possible, where people can be who they are, where we can explore the world, and not really worry about the outside world in the context that, we can make things better, right? We want to empower our kids. But after the incidents, it really felt like that trust, that ability was slightly broken, or at least like because of the pain, you think it's broken. So going into a space where you worry for your safety, and also you grieve the loss of people your age and people that have, similar lived experiences as you do, has been incredibly traumatizing.
So, what was the reaction of the students? Did the school host any sessions with the kids, or did you leave it to the kids to bring up?
No, so the reality was the districts were taking their time, which they should have done, in terms of a response. But I can tell you that myself and many other teachers, we did engage in conversations with students in our own way, age appropriate, all of that, because there was a feeling in our schools, right? Some kids were coming up to us, right? What is being done, right? Are we going to have a drill? Very specific questions. So a lot of teachers I know did address it in their own way, in their own classroom environments. The district, the BCTF, a number of other organizations have put out messaging and even kind of lesson plans and strategies that staff could use in the last day or two.
Like you, I cannot imagine what the teachers and support
Yeah,
staff are
yeah,
going through in Tumbler
yeah,
Ridge right now. They lost a
yeah,
colleague
yes,
and they've lost students that,
yeah,
and it's a very small school, 160
yes,
students.
that's right. Yeah.
So, uh, if put yourself, like, how do you
Mhm.
think we can best support those teachers and
Mhm.
those families right now?
Mhm. Yeah. I think number one is that there's been a bit of a salve in the last day or two, and that is the stories, the beautiful stories of protection. Like even those we lost being heroes. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. The
Yes.
teachers that, bolted the doors, that ran through the school, that, kids that knew what to do. I think that's something that we have to mention, that the protocols we are using, the drills, the secure measures, like they are working because kids knew what to do. And that's a horrible thing to say, right? We should to never have these, they should not know how to do this, right? So in essence, what I'm saying is that, look for the helpers, speak about the helpers, speak about the valiant efforts by so many to include those beautiful souls we lost. And secondly, that at a time when obviously there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of questions, that we need to support our students the best we can. So making sure counselors are involved, that there's kids helplines, there's any number of organizations that can come in, and also like really to make sure that, it's okay to have feelings right now. It's okay to discuss those feelings. And our schools are those places where that can happen. So yeah, and to parents, really kind of engage in the stories that are coming out. Focus on the families. We know there are GoFundMe amounts for specific students still in critical condition. There's other ways to help. Tumblr is going to need years of support. And Tumbler Ridge Secondary to fill what is this horrific hole that will take, that will never overcome. I know, some of us have gone through some incidents, not exactly like this, but of elements where you're in a secure lockdown situation, someone is injured or God forbid killed, and we know that when we come together, when we have dialogue, and when there's funding and resources to make sure that that is happening, then that is the best way to move forward and truly support the folks at Tumbler Ridge.
That's beautiful what you said. And I think that's what we're hearing from the families in Tumbler Ridge
Yeah.
as well, that to
Yeah.
focus on the stories, to focus
Yeah.
on the people, focus on the kids, focus on the beautiful gift they were to this world. And there'll be lots of times for other discussions later. But right now,
Lots of times, and that, violence only begets violence, right? So if people are feeling anguish, they have questions, they might have certain opinions, whatever that might be. Yeah, and I think the souls we lost, they're the guiding light here.
yes.
They're the ones that have actually shown us the best of humanity. That in their, and the kids that survived too, to be clear, I don't remember the name, but a student that gave 45 minutes of CPR trying to save her friend. Like, how incredible is that? So let's focus on that. And that's the answer. It's all the questions, to all the topics that have to be brought up. That's the answer, actually. And I really hope that the adults in the world, including teachers and staff, we are mindful of that we keep all of our students safe, and that, yes, maybe there's some tough discussions to be had, but we always do it with humanity in mind, and that as schools, we are here to protect all students of all identities, and that when we truly protect our students, then there's less violence overall. There's less fear. There's less need to take drastic actions, right? And kids will learn like the right way, right? I think that's maybe Tumbler Ridge, that's the story for us, is that how do we make sure that the world is safe for everyone? And we move forward with these folks that we've lost and the survivors as well, as the true heroes and the true leaders as we come out of this.
Thank you so much, Annie, for your very
Not a problem.
eloquent voice and a very humane voice that you have brought to this very, very difficult time.